Hello everybody, Huckrex here. Welcome to another Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere. And today we're going to be talking about the Galleon Light Tank. Well, it comes in many different forms, but the primary one during the Succession War was a 690 moving vehicle with internal combustion engine. Had 3 heat sinks. Actually, no, it had 5 heat sinks, sorry. And with a weapons loadout and armor of 56, kind of spread out amongst all the areas. So wasn't well protected. So basically a PPC during that time era or a large laser would strip off a lot of it. Or a AC-10. Hit it with an AC-20 would kill it. Just put it that way. And it had a medium laser in the turret, a small laser on the left side, a small laser on the right side. And that was it. And it being a 6.9, basically it was kind of like a cheap man's scout vehicle coming in around 300 battle value. So, yeah, it was kind of a cheap ad. It falls under kind of the same category as, like, you look at the Scorpion Light Tank, you know, that kind of thing, where it had some speed, minimal amount of firepower, and got around. So, the only drawback is you got a lot of tonnage wrapped up in, almost just as much tonnage wrapped up in heat sinks as you do with the weapons loadout. So, yeah, it's like you got 5 tons of weapons, or not, 2 tons of weapons with 3 heat sinks, so a total of 5. There we go. Ugh, can't even think. Or 10 altogether. 7. Oh man, can't even think. So, yeah, it's a interesting little vehicle. I've been using these galleons as a kind of a light recon style vehicle for mechs if you don't have access to fast moving hovercraft. Because if you have a choice of taking a, let's say, a Pegasus or something of that nature, you're better off taking one of those instead. But if you don't have access to those, it's not bad. It gets the job done. So if you got a few points that you want to just throw away into something that's light and small, it's something to think about. Now, there are a few variants of this vehicle rampaging around the inner sphere. You have the standard 3050 era one. Now, this one does make use of a fusion engine, so don't have to worry. You got 10 free heat sinks coming with it. It has 108 points of armor, and then you have a medium laser in the left side, medium laser on the right side, a medium pulse laser in the turret with a beagle probe inside. So, and it's a 711, so they up the speed. So by using the fusion engine instead of internal combustion engine, you can put a few more items on board this thing, which is good. I have no problem with that. And then you have the beagle probe, and you got more armor. So basically, you're running around with 6 tons of armor instead. So there is that to be said about the difference. You're looking at 3.5 tons versus 6 tons. So you got a 2.5 ton more increase added on. So obviously, and I think this is that ferrofibrous armor, I believe. Yeah, it's got ferrofibrous armor, so you can get a little bit more boost to it. So if you had your choice between the two, and what's the battle value of this thing? Why am I not seeing it? Don't they have it listed anywhere in this book? It's not. That's interesting. So, maybe I can find it real quick here, give you an idea. This is the Galleon Light Tank. Oh, 650. Okay, so yeah, it's about double. So more equipment, double fun. So, but as a 711, not quite as versatile as say a mech would be, but you know, you're getting into the same battle value as you of a pretty cheap scout mech, though, without any hardly anything on it. But you know, you're getting to the same thing. But in a pinch, it's not bad. It'll get the job done, and with 108 points of armor, that's pretty respectable. You could take on the front slope, you can take an AC-20 and keep on ticking without any internal damage at all. Now, when you look at the sides and the back armor, and that's not quite 20, I would almost have taken off the 5 points off the front and give it 20 all around, at least. That way you would able to handle an AC-20, and then it's like, okay, all the armor's gone, keep on moving. It's like, then you can try to do the retrograde. But overall, the Galleon Light Tank isn't that bad. It gets the job done. Now, there's a couple other variants of this vehicle. Okay, there's the Galleon 200 version. It's like I was talking about. The first one, I think they call it the Galleon 100. The Galleon, yes, the Galleon 100 is the one with the medium laser and 2 small lasers. The Galleon 200 has a small laser. The small lasers have been replaced by machine guns. So it's kind of a more of a city vehicle. So you go in, and if you run across infantry, you can start hosing infantry down. And the battle value is running around 345. So a little bit different in the battle value comparatively. You know, it's a little bit more for some reason, which I find interesting, is that, you know, putting machine guns on it increases the battle value. And then we have the 200 version. This one has refits the machine guns with a pair of rocket launchers. So you got 4 rocket launchers mounted on it for additional firepower. So this is the 200RL. Okay. Kind of an interesting little build there. Not what I would probably go for, but yeah, it could be done. Then we have the Galleon 102. This one has a fusion engine on it. This is almost kind of like the standard version. That, you know, it's in the 3058 book. Medium laser, which we just talked, has a pulse laser, the Beagle probe, and medium lasers and ferrofibrous armor. Okay, so that's your typical one you have. Then the 103 version. Now this one came out in 3066. This has an XL engine on board, has a C3I, Guardian ECM, has an ER medium laser on the turret, and obviously you're going to have the medium lasers on each side. So it is also has an upgraded armor package along with the ferrofibers, but it is coming in at almost 875 for battle value. So yeah, it's got a little more equipment on board, but you're talking what do you call it? Kind of a Ward of Blake style vehicle. Then we have the 104 version. This come out 66 also. This one is removed weapons and electronics except for the C3I. It mounts a large large laser in the turret with a targeting computer. Comes down at almost 800 battle value. That one might be interesting. So you run around with the other ones with the C3 eyes on board with a little bit shorter ranged weapons, and then you have this one with the ER large. Obviously, it's going to have 2 more tons go to heat sinks, take care of the large laser, but with an XL engine, you got plenty of space to play with. And then we got the what they call the Galleon Maxwell. This is Maxwell the Planetary Defense Consortium put this one together with experimental technology. As an armored motive system, sponson turrets. Each one has a small pulse laser and a machine gun, while the standard medium laser in the turret has a 4-ton infantry bay, allow it to carry a squad of battle armor equipped troops, and to make room for all this equipment. It uses an XL engine. It comes in at 450. So it has a little bit less weaponry, but it's a battle taxi. So it's got the speed, brings it in, and drop off the troops, and then provide a little bit of fire support while they're working on it. Now, this is an interesting one, the Galleon 105. This one has a thumper artillery system and an ER medium lasers in the sponson turrets. So each side has an ER medium laser, as the what do you call it, fusion engine, but it has lighter armor and the thumper artillery system. So it has something for close-in support for itself, but the thumper allows, imagine working with, let's say, the Galleon Maxwell's ones with the infantry bays, and then you have a thumper artillery support vehicle attached to it, so they can drop artillery where needed, soften up targets, and then run in with the infantry. It's kind of an interesting thought process going on there. Or you can have some of the other ones, like the one with the ER large laser, doing some fire support with it. But overall, the Galleons are kind of an interesting little vehicle. They have a hard time being niched into something specific for the game, but during the Succession Wars, it's sort of like the 100 version. They do have a purpose, kind of like a cheap recon unit, kind of fire and forget. You know, you don't feel too bad if you lose one. It's like, oh, that's only 300 battle value that you lost. And they're kind of like annoying little gnats. But my experience over the years is that people just get tired of trying to chase them down and hunt them down and kill them. You know, which means that other vehicles in your lineup are not going to have any problems. So there you go. I typically, let's see if I got one here. I got one in my lineup that I got built in the past that I used. Here we go. It has a medium laser in the turret, medium laser in the left and right sponson. It also has a small laser in the turret. It's a 711 with fusion engine, and it has 8 points of armor standard. So that's the standard version. And then if you go into the later in the years, you could always put ferrofibers on it if necessary. Now up the armor too, a bit more. And it carries enough armor in the front and the sides, not the rear necessarily, it can handle AC-20 with no problem. So they typically handle things pretty good for a tracked vehicle. So that's my version of the Galleon. Hope you guys like it, and like and subscribe, share it with friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Elkricks out.